want you to remember, no driver ever won a race by holding back. He won it by making the other fool hold back. Men, all this stuff you heard about NASCAR drivers not wanting to turn right, wanting to stay off the road courses, is a lot of horse dung. NASCAR drivers traditionally love to turn right. Now, a race crew, that's a team. It lives, eats, sleeps, fights as a team. This individuality stuff is a bunch of crap. And I don't want to get any messages that we are holding our positions. We are advancing constantly. And we are not interested in holding on to anything except the trophy. We are going to hold on to it by the handles. We're going to raise the hell out of it all the time. And we are going to go through the Glen like crap through a goose. All right now, you know how I feel. Oh, I will be proud to see you guys on the track anytime. That's all. Dismissed.
Thanks, General. You know, race fans, road course racing at Watkins Glen goes back to 1948, and after this year's second and final round of right turns, we will have just 4 races to go before the chase. Last Monday, it was an emotional first win of the season for Denny Hamlin, and right behind him was Juan Pablo Montoya finishing second, and he is a serious threat again today to win at the Glen. For the first time ever, Jimmie Johnson is on the pole for a road course race, and the 48 showed championship form as they bounced back last weekend at Pocono. Points leader Tony Stewart is a 4-time winner here and has a huge points lead that could get bigger today. Get set for 90 laps of twists and turns, beating and banging on the road course at Watkins Glen. It's race day, everyone. Get on your feet. The fans are out in full force as we get set for the final road course race of the season. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to NASCAR Race Day, built by the Home Depot. I'm John Roberts, alongside of Mr. Excitement, General Jimmy Spencer, and driver number 28, Kenny Wallace.
I've got to tell you something, race fans. I want to get out of my seat, but I can't. Everybody's into numbers. So I started playing the numbers game. You know, 3 is Earnhardt. 2 is the old blue deuce of Rusty Wallace. 3 and 2 is 5. 5 is what we have left. We have 5 races left in this chase for the championship. So here's the way I look at it, everybody. This is the wild card here at Watkins Glen. Everybody says Daytona and Talladega because you can't control it. Well, let me tell you what. Here at Watkins Glen, this is it. You can mess up 11 times. There are 11 corners. Go down in the corner. One more, wheel hop, spin out like Jeff Gordon and Tony Stewart. Remember that?
Yeah, that was a hell of a race.
Those guys were leading the race. They spun out and was off the track. Spence, this is the wild card.
Well, think about this, though, fans. Last week at Pocono, 8 places changed in this top 12. 8 guys moved around. Kyle Busch lost some ground. He's 13th. He's 101 back. But you know what? 5 of the last 7 races at Watkins Glen been won by a Gibbs car. Don't count out Busch out of this chase, Johnny.
And right now, he is the reigning king of the road because he swept these 2 road course races last year. And watch out for Kasey Kahne. He is the last winner on a road course as well. Let's now get you inside the garage area and check in with Hermie Sadler to see what's going on down there. What's up, Hermie?
Well, I want to echo what these guys are saying on the set. A wild card race this is. Let me tell you why. Because everything is different today. The first thing you see is obvious. Look right here on pit road. The cars lined up that way. When they come down pit road for a pit stop, the cars will actually come down with the right side against pit wall. Now, these guys practice this some during the week, but it's different. You have to go to the driver's side first. It's different than what we do every week, a chance to make a mistake. Now, also at this racetrack, 11 corners, as Kenny Wallace said, you're braking, you're shifting. A lot of chances to make a mistake that can really hurt you at this racetrack. It's just a little bit different than it is every other week. Remember this, on every other racetrack and oval, you have 1 spotter. Here, you'll have 2, maybe 3 spotters around this race course. A lot of strange voices on the radio, a chance for miscommunication and to make a mistake. And you want to pit here under green and then have the caution come out. Completely different than what we have on a normal race weekend. Now, another thing too, what makes this racetrack exciting is passing zones. I'm going to take you on the racetrack a little bit later on in race day, look at some passing zones, but also some passing takes place in no passing zones. Look at Marcus Ambrose diving to the bottom of Kyle Busch, entering the inner loop yesterday. It shocked him. 18 didn't know what to do. He had to stop and get back in line. So passing when you're not supposed to pass happens here at Watkins Glen. And we got to remember, if you make a mistake today, because of the nature of this racetrack, because of the wave around rule, virtually every car that's running at the end of this race will be on the lead lap. So a mistake can drop you from a top 5 finish outside the top 30, Wendy, and that could be very detrimental in your hopes of getting in this chase.
Thanks, Hermie. You talk about green flag pit stops. The only green I see, unfortunately, today is on that radar. I feel like Groundhog Day back in Pocono. We do have a cell. It rained this evening and through the night here in Watkins Glen, but if we take a look at this radar, there is a huge storm brewing above us in the north. It's coming over Canada, over Lake Ontario. Now, it has a lot of energy. It's packing a lot of that, the lightning strikes that are those white boxes you see. Now, if we head a little bit south, we're right above Elmira. This is the racetrack. This is where Watkins Glen is located. This storm is about 160 miles away, which according to the radar said it's going to hit us around race time, around 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock. This storm should be hitting. Now, if we keep our fingers crossed, the storm will continue to move northeast and not come any more south and hit Watkins Glen. Now, the easy answer to this would be, well, why don't we use rain tires? That way we would get the race in today. Oh, we've seen rain tires in the Nationwide Series, and Kenny Wallace, from your experience with those rain tires, there's so many variables that we have, and so many things can happen. This is the biggest championship in motorsports on the line. A lot can go wrong with some rain tires. Talk about your experience and what you've had with those rain tires in the past.
Race fans, think about it. Yes, we all want to be here and we want to watch this race in the rain, but we're talking about one of the biggest forms in motorsports. We rival Formula One. Which is the biggest series? It doesn't matter, but here's the point. Do you want to go back and go, well, because it rained, something happened to Mark Martin, because they weren't experienced in the rain? What happened to me at Montreal last year? The race got red flagged. It was a monsoon, and it was a bad deal. I couldn't see anything. These teams, you know, NASCAR says, we're going to give you some rain tires, but we're not going to run in the rain. NASCAR has already said we will not run the biggest series in motorsports in the rain. We will not have rain decide the championship. There's only 5 to go. I couldn't see. I'm sitting there in my car last year. My window fogs up. I can't see nothing. I was demoralized. I had to pull to the left-hand side. I had to look at the guardrail and follow myself all the way back to pit road. Do you want your driver to have anything like that happen? How many of these drivers have ever ran in the rain? Maybe none of them. You know, there are only a handful of Busch drivers, Spence, that have experienced rain. Carl Edwards, Kyle Busch.
It's not going to rain today.
It's just not going to rain. Yeah, let's think positive.
No rain.
There's more reason why not to run in the rain when you look at the points and see how tight it really is right now for the top 10 as the race to the chase intensifies. Tony Stewart has an opportunity today, and it is likely that this will happen, that he will mathematically clinch his spot in the chase, and realistically, second and third are in this thing.
Yeah, the big thing here is now we're starting to get to no man's land here. Kurt Busch, you know, pretty solid in the top 10. Top 5 here. Denny Hamlin, with his win last week, solidifies it. You know what? These guys are pretty safe. Carl Edwards, if you told me that he hasn't won a race this year, I'd tell you, you're crazy.
And this is what I'm always excited about. I say it every week, but let me say this. This is the first time this year that we have seen a 100-point difference between 12th and 13th.
8th and 12th are separated by 68 points. 13th through 16th separated by a mere 20 points.
And what's really interesting here is we don't have 18th on there, which is Marcus Ambrose. And Marcus Ambrose said yesterday on Sirius Radio that if he has a good day today, he's not out of this chase. Well, I don't think he is. I think he'll have a good day. But I think Burton's out of this thing. I think a lot of these guys are out, Kenny. I think it's down to Kyle Busch getting in. That's going to be the key. And who's coming out, I don't know.
And when I look at this, I look at RCR, Richard Childress. I think all of RCR has to put everything they have behind Clint Boyer. Clint Boyer right now is the flagship. Will they get him in the chase?
That is a big question. A lot of other questions to be answered today here on the road course at the Glen. And the biggest question of all perhaps could be, will it rain or will it not? And we're thinking positive. We hope it doesn't rain. When we come back, a serious contender to win this thing today.
While the right turns cause problems for some guys, these three are smart bets at the Glen. We'll follow the twists and turns that led to this triumvirate claiming 11 of the past 16 checkers here. Coming at you, NASCAR Race Day, built by the Home Depot.
NASCAR Race Day is built by the Home Depot. Visit homedepot.com. More saving, more doing. That's the power of the Home Depot. Brought to you in part by Advance Auto Parts. Keep the wheels turning. And by NASCAR Banking, only from Bank of America. Your debit card, your credit card, your driver. Learn more at a Bank of America Banking Center today.
Welcome back, race fans, to Watkins Glen International. The road course here tests drivers mentally and physically. It can bring out the best and the worst in teams and drivers, but in particular, 3 certain drivers are the best.
Mark Martin enters the Glen with impressive credentials. In 19 starts, 16 top 10s, and 12 top 5s, including an impressive 10 in a row from 1989 to 2000. And when Mark Martin starts up front, he can't be beat.
Mark Martin got himself a good start there. That's what he wanted to do.
In 1993, Martin overcame pit road problems.
And they have not been able to get the right rear tire off the Mark Martin car.
To score checkers from the pole.
First win at Watkins Glen for Mark Martin. It's also his first ever road course victory, and it came in his 15th career road course start.
He liked winning from the pole so much, he did it again in '94.
And Mark Martin wins his first of 1994. Mark Martin wins the butt of the Glen.
And '95.
And Mark Martin is 3 for 3 at Watkins Glen.
We had to stop and get gas. We couldn't make it, and we had to pass those cats, so we kind of had to earn it today.
Jeff Gordon continued Mark Martin's winning ways and then surpassed them.
Here comes the road course king. Jeff Gordon takes his 7th road course victory. Winning here at Watkins Glen.
Gordon has 3 peats at both Sonoma and Watkins Glen.
Jeff Gordon has won the Bud at the Glen. His 8th win of the 1997 season. Jeff Gordon, his 3rd straight win on a road course. The 7th win of 1998. For the 5th consecutive time, Jeff Gordon wins on a road course.
And looks to add another notch to his belt for his 2nd win of '09 and 83rd of his illustrious career.
Tony Stewart is going to win at Watkins Glen.
Tony Stewart took over the Glen domination, averaging a top 5 start as well as finish, including 4 wins over the last 7 trips to the Empire State.
Tony Stewart is going to win the Sirius satellite radio at the Glen convincingly here today.
Smoke looks to be in a New York state of mind and extend his lead atop the standings while adding 10 valuable bonus points when the leaderboard resets after Richmond. He's done it before and could do it again.
After spinning earlier this afternoon, going back to 20th, he's going to come home and win at Watkins Glen today. Tony Stewart gets the victory.
Let's take a look at the numbers behind the Watkins Glen Dominators, and perhaps the one that sticks out the most. Look at Mark Martin, 16 top 10s.
Well, the thing here, Johnny, though, that last win for him came in 1995. He has no experience at all here at Watkins Glen in the new car, Kenny. So I think Mark Martin, if he gets a top 10 today, that's a victory for him.
And how about Jeff Gordon? I mean, this guy is incredible, but what about his era? I mean, when he was on, he was unbeatable. And look at his stats. He's right there with the best that have ever run Watkins Glen.
And one of the best on the road course has to be Juan Pablo Montoya. He's got a win at Sonoma, a 4th place finish here. And for more on Juan Pablo, let's go to Wendy.
And I picked Juan Pablo Montoya last week at Pocono, last Monday, I should say, to win the race. Hey, not a bad pick. 2nd place, the next best finish, and your best finish of the season so far. Seems like you guys are really on a roll. You say 15th is the goal every week, and you're surpassing that.
Well, actually, it's 12. Everybody at the Target Chef is doing an amazing job. We got a great car every week now, and we're just really focused on trying to make that chase. But we seem to be running better and better every week. We seem to have a nice cushion to 13th place right now, and if we come out of here with a good result, it would be very important for that.
So a nice cushion in the points, 8th. Does that mean you can go for a win today?
You know, if the opportunity comes, we will. If it doesn't, you know, it's more about points, you know. If I have a chance, I'll probably go for it, but we'll see.
What about your race car for today? I heard you throughout the weekend say it's a little bit tight in places. What are we expecting to see once we do get some racing in today?
I thought we drew Friday wasn't very good, and we qualified. I was surprised. I thought we were going to qualify like 20, and we qualified 10, so it's a lot better than we expected. For the race, I think we got a great race car. Yesterday was really fast, very consistent, so we'll see.
All right, Juan Pablo Montoya, looking forward to Watkins Glen. It's been fun to watch your kids, Juan's kids, playing with Max Pappas's kids in the motorhome lot. It's been a great weekend for the families here in Watkins Glen.
Wendy, thanks a lot. Now, when you look at Juan Pablo Montoya, he has certainly been a bright spot in what's been a pretty tough year for Earnhardt Ganassi Racing. Let's face that. But he is definitely no fluke that he was about to win Indy, and then he comes back with a second at Pocono.
Well, and the big thing about Juan, what I've seen is his diversity, and he's finally figured this sport out. Being that you have to be aggressive, but yet you have to calm your aggression down. We've seen him get in a lot of trouble over the last few years, 2 years, I should say. This year, Kenny, no trouble at all. He's putting himself in a position. We saw it in Indianapolis. If the team don't make a mistake, he wins the Brickyard. Comes back at Pocono second. He will be strong today.
And I got to tell you something that's really impressive to me. You know, this whole Earnhardt Ganassi has gone through a lot of trying times. You know, when Earnhardt Ganassi gathered, they had 7 teams. They're down to 2. It would be very easy for Juan Pablo to go, oh, we're not doing too good. But listen, thumbs up to Juan Pablo because listen to him. He's a world-class driver. He's won Formula One championships, you know, IRL championships. This guy has come into NASCAR with his head down. He's earning it, and he's saying, we have to be very consistent. We have to. I don't care what anybody else thinks. I am my own man. I like Juan Pablo Spence.
He'll be tough.
Because he's being positive about a team that has went from 7 cars down to 2. Good job, Juan.
Yeah, and it's good for our sport, Johnny.
Yes, and we may well see Juan Pablo Montoya in victory lane with us this afternoon. We're going to take another quick break here on NASCAR Race Day, built by the Home Depot. But when we come back, we'll take you to where the rubber meets the road course here at Watkins Glen. Monday on This Week in NASCAR, Michael Waltrip and Chad Knaus will break down the entire race from Watkins Glen. Will Kasey Kahne sweep the road courses in 2009? Or maybe Kyle Busch will get back to his winning ways? We'll cover it all on Twin, Monday at 8 Eastern, only on Speed. We got some gray skies here at the Glen, but it's going to take a lot more than a little bit of gray skies to stop the fans here because they are ready to see NASCAR's best do battle with this road course. Now, if you've been watching NASCAR TV all weekend long, chances are you've heard some people describe this racetrack as a 7-turn racetrack, and some people describing it as an 11-turn racetrack. Well, if you're listening to your scanner today, you'll hear Race Control use the 7 as the number of turns at this track, but you'll hear teams, if you switch over to team radios, refer to it as 11. But no matter what number you decide to use, Hermie Sadler tells us there is danger around every turn.
And fans, welcome to our second and last road course race of the year. Watkins Glen, a high-speed racetrack. If you're trying to make left turns and right turns on a road course, very challenging. And turn 1 is probably the biggest passing zone on this racetrack. If you can outbrake your competitor, guys will start braking right here at the caution light. You see 300, 200, 100, and leads us to turn 1, a 90-degree right-hand corner. As you can see, a lot of room off turn 1. Very important. It leads us downhill right here to turn 2. Now, not a lot of passing in this part of the racetrack, but very important as it leads up through the S's. A lot of speed can be gained or lost through the S's heading to the backstretch. Once you come out of the S's, it brings you to the back straightaway. A high-speed part of this racetrack and also a very good passing zone. It leads down to the inner loop or the bus stop, whatever you want to call it. Thing to remember here, look how narrow this entrance is to the inner loop. A lot of curbing here. You'll see guys taking advantage of the racetrack and the curbing to set up their next corner in the inner loop. The exit of turn 10 is very important because it sets you up for the final corner, a right-hander, turn 11. Turn 11 leads you back to the front straightaway and back to the start-finish line and what is hopefully a fast lap at Watkins Glen.
Hermie Sadler, thanks a lot. And guys, I don't think TV does it justice. Unless you're standing here looking at this racetrack, you can't understand the elevation changes that the drivers have to go through through a lap.
The big thing at this racetrack is Hermie said it, speed. The speed at this racetrack, very, very fast. So automatically, as you see these guys, they can't hardly see what's going on because they're freaking bumper to bumper, and it's hard to see through these cars. So if one guy makes a mistake, bam, 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 chain reaction. But brakes, shifting. They have so many opportunities to make a mistake here. It's unheard of.
This racetrack is what we call in the garage area the super speedways of road course racing. You know, at Sears Point, Kasey Kahne won, and he was an unexpected winner. At Watkins Glen, sometimes we see unexpected winners because the car, the horsepower, the body, it is big at this racetrack. High speeds, I think they're clocking them at over 170, 180 mile an hour up the back stretch. So this in the garage area is called the super speedways of road course racing.
And just to give you a little bit of idea of how fast they go around these turns, Jeff Gordon has the record for pole qualifying at 124 miles per hour. Now, if you watched last Monday from Pocono, you saw the number 48 team of Jimmy Johnson take a 37th place car and make it a 13th place finishing car. Great job by that team. And now let's check in with crew chief Chad Knaus and get this weekend's Sunoco pit strategy.
We're in Watkins Glen this weekend for the second road course race of the 2009 season. Now, everybody thinks, okay, it's the same as what Sonoma was. Well, actually, it's quite different. At Sonoma, you can pit the car very similar to what we do here. We go clockwise around the racetrack, just like we do at Sonoma, but when you come down the pit road, you're actually going to be coming from the left to the right, as opposed to from the right to the left. Sound simple? Well, actually, it's quite the opposite. You're going to have your front tire changers a lot of the time move to the rear of the race car. Your rear tire changers moving to the front of the race car. Your fuelers are going to be on the right rear as opposed to the left rear. Are you confused? Well, I am. I can tell you what, it's a very difficult process to make sure you get everything right. Now, you can go about 33 laps on a Sunoco fuel run. Well, that's going to be about 67 to make it to the end of the race. The thing is, guys are really going to start figuring in some cautions towards the end of the event, and they're going to try to pit a little bit earlier in their fuel window to try to get that ever valuable track position. It's going to be an exciting race. It's going to be a very difficult one to maintain and pay attention to, but you're going to enjoy it, I promise.
Chad, thanks a lot. You can count on that. It's the 5th year of the Sunoco Free Fuel 5000 exclusively at Sunoco. It's easy to participate. Simply visit any participating Sunoco station, pick up a free Sunoco decal, put it in a prominent location on your car, and visit the stations regularly on a regular basis for a chance to be spotted. For more information, go to visitgosunoco.com. We got to take a quick break here on NASCAR Race Day, built by the Home Depot. But here's the big question. Can Kasey Kahne sweep the road courses this year? Well, we'll ask him when we come back. Welcome back, race fans, to NASCAR Race Day, built by the Home Depot, coming to you live from Watkins Glen International, where they've had 26 Cup-level races. 16 different drivers have won those 26 races, and there could be yet another new driver to add his name to that list this afternoon, and that could be driver number 9, Kasey Kahne. He is the most recent road course winner on NASCAR's Top Series, and also he's never finished inside of the top 14 here. Let's now go to Hermie Sadler, who's standing by with Kasey Kahne.
Well, Kasey Kahne, last time we had a road course, you went to Victory Lane at Infineon. When you think back of that, what are some good positive thoughts you bring from that race here to Watkins Glen?
Well, I think the biggest thing we had there was forward drive, you know, the brakes and all the little things that maybe I've battled in the past. We had, everything was perfect. So, you know, we have all that again, and the forward drive was tough yesterday. We had a hard time finding that and getting that off the fast corners and the slow corners. And so Kenny made a couple more changes, and hopefully it'll be good today. I think at the end of practice, our Budweiser Dodge was pretty good, but it wasn't as good as the Glen, or at Sonoma.
And we talk about momentum in this sport. Since Infineon, you've come from 15th to 7th in the points. What's been the difference? I mean, not only winning the race, but, you know, a lot of top 10 finishes since then. Yeah,
I mean, we had a great run there. We were running pretty strong before Infineon. And then since, the team's done an awesome job. Every week they do a great job, and the communication's been there. We've been doing everything the best that we can, and we've been getting the best results. So just getting points, you know, it's all about making the chase, and, you know, all of our great sponsors and partners want to be there, so we got to figure out how to do it.
Obviously, you got to watch these points. 7th right now. You want to continue to gain points, but don't want to lose too many. Typically, a lot of cars on the lead lap here at the end of this race. What is your goal heading into the day, and what would you leave here with? It'll be a great day for you guys.
Well, just, you know, staying on course, no mistakes, because like you say, there is going to be, you know, 30 cars on the lead lap right at the end of it. So we need to just be, you know, have a flawless day, do everything do everything right and try to get the results late. You know, I think track position will be big. There's going to be some double file restarts there at the end. You know, everybody enjoys it, so you know there'll be a couple.
And JR, Kasey Kahne does not have a top 10 finish here at Watkins Glen, but he looks to change that today as he continues to climb the ladder for the Sprint Cup Championship.
Hermie, thanks a lot. As of right now, Kasey Kahne is in the top 12, but let's take a look at some of the guys who were chasers last year who are not in as of right now. And I think if we would have told you at this time last year that Kevin Harvick would not be in the chase this year, Kenny Wallace, they'd say we're crazier than they already say we are.
And I say to myself, race fans, what have we learned here? We always put so much into the driver. The driver. Well, we know Kevin Harvick has won Daytona and Indy, so we say, well, let's look at Harvick.
He also won here, Kenny, too. Remember, he beat Tony Stewart. A heck of a race.
Exactly. So here's how I judge that. I say, okay, everybody that surrounds Kevin Harvick is not having a good year. Clint Boyer, Jeff Burton. So Kevin Harvick is doing good. The team needs some work.
I got to bring up this, the Gibbs. We know Gibbs have won 5 of the last 7 races here. Denny Hamlin last week finally got his first win of the year. But how about Busch? No way would you have told me at this point in the season that he would be outside the top 12. And on top of it, 101. He's not 2 or 3 out. He's 101 out. And Johnny, to tell you the truth, I am shocked at that.
And when you look at those 2 drivers, Denny Hamlin and Kyle Busch, those are 2 really good road course drivers. Denny Hamlin, of course, doesn't have a winning cup yet, but he does on the Nationwide Series on the road course.
Well, the thing that stands out to me with Denny Hamlin is it's either feast or famine. I mean, he didn't even make it into turn 1 at Pocono on the first lap. And then at Indy, the transmission blew out. So, you know, they have a lot of part failures over there.
Yeah, and that's what I want to get at, too, Kenny. I agree with you there because I do not think these drivers are failing. Denny Hamlin or Kyle Busch. I think the equipment's failing at Gibbs Racing. I don't think that the equipment is up to the standard that the drivers are putting the pressure. Also, let's not take this credit away. You take Hendrick, you take Roush, you take Tony Stewart's organization. Very tough. These guys have all escalated their programs, and it seems like the Gibbs team has not escalated as much. I'm shocked at that.
It's very competitive, man.
Yeah.
I would like to say this. Be careful what you wish for, race teams, because for all these years, I've always heard people say, oh, man, only if we had Dale Earnhardt in our car.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you what, there's only about 4 or 5 drivers that have not won in the Cup Series now. So when you say you want a Dale Earnhardt driving your car, be careful because now they're all winning drivers, and so when something happens, the team is standing out now, no longer the driver.
It's more team effort than it's ever been in our sport.
And especially here today on the road course, the pit stops have to be exactly perfect, and also the driver has to stay out of that pea gravel or the kitty litter that could cost him a serious bit of time on the racetrack. When we come back, you may not like him, but he's one of the best road course racers in the business.
What my opinion is...
We know the boys love to talk.
Shane's just not stabbing and jabbing.
It's had more facelifts than Richard Simmons.
What is wrong with you guys?
And to quench their thirsts for verbiage,
That is absolutely the desperatest move a man could ever make.
we'll chat with last year's Glen winner. Kyle stops by to drop some knowledge. Heading your way, NASCAR Race Day, built by the Home Depot.
Welcome back, race fans, to Watkins Glen International and NASCAR Race Day, built by the Home Depot. They have a hell of a good race on tap for you this afternoon. The number 18 car driven by Kyle Busch just might be the one who finishes first. There are certain racetracks that are more gratifying to win on because if you win on a road course, the driver has done his work in a big way. But now let's flash back to 08 when Kyle Busch dominated this track.
Expecting a great race here today.
It's going to be exciting just to watch these guys to figure out strategies that will get them up towards the front all day long.
Drivers getting buckled up, setting for 90 laps here at historic Watkins Glen International.
Hey, Mark.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. in the green flag waves.
All Hendrick power up front. 1, 2, 3. All filed right by Kyle Busch. He's struggling just a little bit.
I thought that wasn't a place to pass. No rear grip anywhere.
Pretty quick. Just keep your eyes on him. Kyle Kasey is going to race you hard.
He's being pretty aggressive. I guess he realizes the chase is coming up, but he's got the most bonus points of anybody.
Keep digging, man. We're going to be pitting you here in about 10 laps, man.
Oh, look at this. That's not good.
All right, nice and smooth, guys. Here he comes. 3. Coming down. He's turned away. 1. front. There you go. Biggest shots from here. Biggest shots. Kick. All the way. Keep it up. Go. Go.
After the exchange of pit stops, got a new leader.
Absolutely. Kyle Busch is out front.
You know, in the long run through the middle, I feel like we're real good. And I don't know about the 20, but he's obviously probably a little better than I am. So go up there and pass him for 5, and we'll give it back to him.
This is teammates working together right here.
Did we help your car any, Kyle?
Yeah, I'm pretty good. Not that fast at the beginning.
If you are a fan of underdogs, how about what Marcus Ambrose might be able to do?
Oh, it's a little soft.
Keep doing what you're doing here, bud. Just be smooth. They're about 1.
Oh, heavy contact, cars crashing. There's Hornish.
Oh, Lord. There's a huge wreck. Big wreck behind you.
It'll be 5 to go. Green flag for Kyle Busch, who takes off.
Opening up a little here. Good work.
Kyle Busch will come down out of turn 11 and take the checkered flag.
I'm sorry. What's flump? Hell yeah, boys. What's up?
You are the man, Kyle Busch. Hell yeah, buddy.
They can keep trying to play these mind games. We'll just keep on winning.
Now, not only was Kyle Busch the man on that day last year, he dominated this race, leading more than half the laps, but this is probably one of the biggest surprises of the season, Mr. Seidman.
Not a question. Last year, he left. He was first in the points. He had 176 point leads over second place. This year, Kenny, he's set in 13th, not in the chase.
And last year, let's remember, he won. He swept the road courses. He won at Sonoma. He won at Watkins Glen. That is Kyle Busch.
The surprise here, fans, is definitely Brian Vickers. You know, no question about it. This team needs to be in this chase, Kenny. And the thing is, you know, they keep being consistent with them top 15s.
And we're still looking at Clint Boyer. He is the hope for Richard Childress Racing. Let's get him in there, Richard.
Right now, 101 points out of the chase. Kyle Busch is standing by with Wendy Venturini. Take it away, Wendy.
Thanks, John. Yes, 101 points, the elephant in the room. Hate to be the captain obvious there, Kyle, but I do have to ask, what can we do to gain some points for you today, my friend?
Maybe some luck. We just need to get back up there and run in the top 5 like we're used to doing, you know. And the M&M's Camry's been decent this weekend. Hasn't been the best, but you know, feel like we're close. We can be a titch better, but hopefully we can find some more when we get out there and racing around everybody else and seeing what our competition looks like.
It seems like the normal road course day, left turns, right turns, but what can you do differently or get a little bit more edge against your competitors today?
Well, the biggest thing is you know, a lot of the guys have been, last year I was beating everybody else into the braking zone, and this year it seems like they're beating me in the braking zone. I might be doing a little bit more braking. You know, they're not out braking me, they're just doing less braking, being able to turn through the corner. You know, I have to slow my car down, otherwise I'll just shoot through the corner. So seems like we need to work on our turn a little bit better with our front end, but you know, today if you can get some position on some guys and have a good solid run and do what we need to do like we did last year and just outrace them, pass them, and be up there in the top 5 at the end.
I have to say that move in the nationwide race was pretty cool by you. You put yourself in a good position and got around Carl Edwards. I know you don't want to hear about finishing second, but you did break a record yesterday, the 10th straight first or second place finish in nationwide. Can you make that smooth move again today? Because it was pretty aggressive and yet happened to get around him. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, you won't be able to do something like that today. These cars don't drive like those cars, so you can't go to the outside and out-drive a guy through the outside of turn 1, through the outside of turn 2 like that. The cars don't turn. They're just, they don't do what they're supposed to do. Those cars are race cars. They're supposed to do that. So these cars today, you'll just have to fall back in line and try to position yourself to outbrake somebody getting into the corner. That's about it.
Nonetheless, you made it exciting yesterday for the nationwide race. Kyle Busch will start 8th today. Johnny?
Wendy, thanks a lot. When you think about that finish in first or second for 10 minutes, that, excuse me, that is absolutely amazing. But right now, his focus has got to be on making the chase. That's where he wants to be. And but for him to do that, somebody has to fall out of the top 12.
Well, I envision this. This is a pressure cooker. My mom used to cook this meat in a pressure cooker, and it would keep boiling and boiling.
And you know about, he knows about food.
Yeah, and then it'll pop. These drivers, Kyle Busch is sitting there saying, how am I going to gain 100 points on somebody? That's the key. They're in pressure cooker situations. You heard him talking. Last year, he outbroke people. This year, it seems like they're outbreaking him. He's carrying more brake. What he's saying is it's just a split second every corner that he might be carrying just a little bit more brake. Overheats him, Kenny. Today, you overheat your brakes, not good.
And the crew has to believe in you because what Kyle Busch says, he's diagnosed it. He said, listen, Steve Addington, my crew chief, I'm getting out-braked right now. And then Steve would say, well, how can that be? Because we were the greatest last year. Race fans, these teams test constantly, spend millions of dollars up at VIR, Virginia International Raceway. So just because his brakes were great last year, doesn't mean they're going to be good this year. So you got to keep working and stay up with everybody that's getting it on.
He'll have a good day today. You could bank on it.
Absolutely, yeah. He was the undisputed king of the road last year as he made the sweep, and he still has a chance to get one this year. Once we pack everything up here from the Glen, we're going to head over to Motown, to Detroit, Motor City, and go to Michigan as the race to the chase intensifies. More than bragging rights will be on the line at the Michigan International Speedway. Coverage begins Friday at noon Eastern with NASCAR Sprint Cup Series practice. NASCAR on Speed, be there. Get a jump on the hunting season as Gander Mountain's first shot event. Find an incredible selection of the best gear around Gander Mountain. We live outdoors. Shop the stores, the catalog, or at gandermountain.com where shipping is now free all day, every day.
Hey.
That is a cool place.
Hey.
I've been there, life vest, fish and fly. Oh, it's a cool place.
Hey, listen to this. Come on in and take a gander. That means look around.
Yeah, look around.
That's Kenny.
Be silly. Be silly.
I'm not too sure what to say after that, but how about this? There's a lot of colorful race fans out here at Watkins Glen, so we sent out Rutledge Wood to find the most colorful one for M&M's.
You know, beating banging is one of the things that people love most about the sport. Every weekend, the guys getting into it, and Right Turn Ryan found some guys that are taking beating and banging to a whole new level.
Rutledge, you got to meet Bob, and Rich. They've been beating banging here at Watkins Glen all weekend.
Now, you guys have your own sumo suits. That's Bob. This is Rich. Rich, how did you come up with this idea?
Well, actually, it was Mo. I was shopping one day, found these things for 20 bucks a piece. 6 years ago, we've been doing all the NASCAR races ever since. Having a great time.
Bob, how did you get stuck with the horse?
Well, there weren't enough sumo suits, and we figured this was suitable, so I got stuck with it. That's all.
All right, Bob, and in a match, who would you win, you or Rich?
Oh, definitely me. I'm much younger than he is.
Ooh, those are fighting words right there. I don't know who's going to win, but my money's on the one in the red. Now, those two for sure are your most colorful fan this weekend.
Not at the track this weekend? Make sure you check out all of M&M's Most Colorful Fans at NASCAR.com/Most Colorful Fan beginning September 7th. You can also help decide who will be crowned this year's Most Colorful Fan of NASCAR by voting for your favorite colorful fan during the photo playoffs. And you know, after seeing the sumo wrestler guys, we have to say something about you, Spence.
Well,
you can take them.
M&M's, I love them. And they offered me this deal. All the M&M's I could eat for a year if I dress up like that, Kenny. I could not do it. No way.
Dress up like the sumo dude?
Wait,
I will.
sumo. Let me say something. Everybody always talks about what kind of crowd is at the racetrack. Well, let me tell you something. I went through the infield here. Wow. They are partying beyond belief. There's more motorhomes inside this racetrack, Spence. There's people swimming naked in swimming pools.
Yeah, but
I've seen it all here at Watkins Glen.
Yeah, but Watkins Glen is a great place to visit. It's got a historic racetrack, without a question. You think back to Jackie Stewart, the Formula One days here. A lot of history here at Watkins Glen, baby.
Back to 1948, you know, they tried 4 different layouts before coming to this racetrack, and the first couple of road course races were actually in downtown Watkins Glen through the streets.
Yes, and let me explain to you some things I learned by eating downtown Watkins Glen. I think there's, what is there?
You ate downtown Watkins Glen?
11 Finger Lakes, is that right? 11? So anyway.
5.
Oh, I was a little bit off.
Unless you have 11 fingers, Ken.
Hey, I have no problem admitting I made a mistake.
He does have 11. What about
But anyway, well, this finger's broke. But anyway, I went to eat downtown, and it was really nice. And what was incredible is now this has become a fan fest, the whole town of Watkins Glen. And not just that, they have a museum here stating how they raced through the city. So it is very historical, and there's always a great crowd. Do not worry about the economy here. It is big time.
Now, Michael Waltrip has always told us that if he could find a driver that would go faster in his race car than he would put him behind the wheel. And that's the situation this weekend, Hermie Sadler, as he has Patrick Carpentier driving the number 55.
Yeah, thank you, Jerry. I got Michael Waltrip and Patrick Carpentier. Sorry, but he's relevant because he's racing today. I'm going to get Patrick first, but you came back from a little bit of an off-course excursion to get a pretty good qualifying run. How'd your bag-up car?
I think it's pretty good. You know, today we ran good. We ran good yesterday, and not too bad yesterday. But I think we made a few changes. Look at what Marcus got. He's strong, very fast. So I think we're going to pick up some of his stuff, and I think we're going to be good today. So hopefully we get a good run. It's been improving since Friday, since the little mistake there. So hopefully we bring the Napa up front today. But I think we got a good chance on it.
Finished 11th in Infineon. This is a completely different racetrack. What's it take to win here?
Just, to me, side bite momentum. Just a high-speed corners. Just got to roll it through fast. And if you can roll the car through the corners fast, you don't use the brakes as much, and you don't have to put the power down as much on the exit. So if you can roll it in the middle, you'll be okay.
Now, Michael, you have more starts here than anybody. You're sitting out today, 22 starts, but come on, you had to be sitting there watching when Patrick went off course and said, geez, I could have done that.
Yeah, I've been doing that more than I want lately, and it's been getting on my nerves. And Hermie, I race a car because I want to win. And for all those years that I raced my car, I thought I could win. But for this race on this day, getting to victory lane, I thought the best chance to get the Napa car there was with Patrick behind the wheel, and I still feel that way. They had a great Saturday, and I believe they'll be real competitive today.
Yeah, let's focus our attention to your other car, David Rudiman, 16th, trying to get in that top 12 for the chase. A little bit of a setback last week. What's David's outlook for the race? You really want to get one of those cars in the chase, I know.
Well, obviously, Marcus is planning on winning, and David would just like to try to minimize any point damage that he could suffer here. A top 20 finish with his lack of road race experience, I think, would be a real accomplishment for that team. But, man, you got to like Rodney Childers and the way he calls a race. You got to think maybe that he can move some shells around and get David in a position just like he did at Pocono last week, and he has every week of the year with that Aaron's car to do something special. And I'm looking forward to seeing this race unfold. I'm going to get my radio on and wander up and down pit road and really be more of a fan than anything today.
If you see a tall guy with a headset on walking around like he's lost, could be Michael Waltrip. Ask for his autograph.
Hermie, thanks a lot. You know, Michael Waltrip's shirt there says, "I'm from Earth." There are people that would dispute that, but you can't dispute the fact that Michael Waltrip Racing is doing absolutely fantastic. We said it before, but we got to say it again.
Yeah.
They're doing absolutely fantastic this year, considering where they started just a few short years ago.
The thing that you got to give Michael credit and the company a lot of credit is the changes. They weren't afraid to bring Booty Barker in, they bring Rodney Childers in, they bring in a lot of people. They bring in, you know, the Brad Doherty DeSchechter deal with Marcus and Frankie Kerr. A lot of changes. This team is probably, without a question, the most improved next to the Haas team. And Michael's, don't forget, is not lined up with Hendrick. But the thing is what Patrick said about rolling the corner and things like that. Very important here at Watkins Glen. But you know what, Kenny? I think you're going to see some surprises today. Fuel mileage is a big issue here. There's no doubt if you can hit pit road and the caution fall at the right time, you're ahead of all those guys. Very hard to pass at Watkins Glen.
You know, I asked Michael Waltrip one time, I said, can you believe that Richard Petty is still coming to the racetracks? I said, doesn't Richard Petty have another life? Doesn't he do anything after all of his success? You know what Michael Waltrip said to me? He said, I, Michael Waltrip, want to be just like Richard Petty. I want to be a car owner. I want to be around until I'm 70, 80 years old in the garage area. You know what I said? I said, well, okay. And he's doing a good job at getting a start of it. Two-time Daytona 500 winner. Michael Waltrip says, look, I want what's best for the team. I'm really impressed by Michael Waltrip.
And we're going to have Mikey around for a while, and that's the good news.
Yes, we will.
Got to take a quick break, but when we come back, we will continue to talk to some of the best road course racers in the business as we get you fired up for the twists and turns of the road course at the Glen. Welcome back, race fans. NASCAR Race Day is live from Watkins Glen in the heart of the Finger Lakes region of upstate New York. And this just into Race Day, there are 11 of those things. Get ready for 90 laps of nail-biting road course racing at Watkins Glen. Greg Biffle is the man on the bubble with just 5 races to go before the chase. But the man on the outside looking in is Kyle Busch. He is only 101 points behind the Biff, but has a mirror full of guys hungry to pass him for a shot at the top 12. All are within 20 points of the Shrub. Let's take a look at the standings and see who is where as we head in to what is truly the wild card in the race to the chase.
Yeah, but this is a lot of points, guys. 180, 169, 65, and 60. But you know what, Kenny? Brian Vickers One top 10 in 9 races here. Clint Boyer, not a lot of success on the road course. David Rudiman, not a lot of success. The thing is, Kenny, that I see here, these guys would be tickled to death with a top 15 finish, and let's move on.
And you know, you always got to look back and go, where did we lose it at? And poor David Rudiman, what a great team he has. Last week running really good, and him and Denny Hamlin get together. But Rudiman, I think, is the last one in 15th spot that has a shot.
And a lot of strange things can happen on the road course. For more on that, let's head you down now for the Shell Garage Report, and we start out with Wendy Venturini.
Thanks, Johnny. You saw how tight that battle was from 7th through 10th. And if you looked at Mark Martin, he had dropped a spot after Pocono. However, when I talked to him on Monday, right before he got in the car, he said he wanted a 150-point pad. And today, going into Watkins Glen, he has 160 points. Mark Martin hasn't raced here since 2006. He was 31st in happy hour, qualified 28th. And in his experience and in watching other veterans, he knows what he needs to avoid.
If you look at Jeff Burton, I think 5 out of the last 6 races, he's gotten an accident. And that's Jeff Burton, a guy who doesn't get in wrecks. So, you know, anything can happen. It is really, really close. It is going to be very interesting. And the race to make the chase is definitely more stressful when you're in that position than the race for the championship. Because the race for the championship, you're in it.
And looking from the outside looking in, that is Kyle Busch. We just heard from him moments ago. He's 101 points back in 13th. That's where his battle is. But he told us last year he felt like he was beating everyone in the braking zone when he won at Watkins Glen last year. This year, not the case. They are struggling with that braking zone. He's had one top 10 in the last 9 races. Kyle Busch, 13th in points, really needs to get the job done today before we get closer and closer to that chase cutoff. Hermie Sadler, it's looking pretty scary for Kyle Busch. He really needs to get down to business when we get through today's race.
Well, you're exactly right, Wendy. He's not the only one who needs to get down to business. Look at Greg Biffle right now. He's holding that very important 12th place in points. Now, he qualified 7th here this weekend at Watkins Glen, but he has only one top 10 in 6 starts here. And Greg Biffle knows when it comes down to crunch time, you got to race everybody, including your teammates.
The good part about it is if there is a good part, is Matt and I are both in the chase right now. So it's not he's 13th, I'm 12th, or vice versa, and we're fighting for that last spot. So ultimately, it could come down to that at the end. But you know, we're trying to be, you know, Matt and I race very good together. We're trying to be, you know, as courteous as we can on the racetrack to each other. But we also know that, you know, it may come down to one of us not being in it. I hope that that's not the case, though.
I talked to Greg Biffle this morning, and he said first practice yesterday, their car was very, very good. Second practice, they just lost a lot of grip all around the racetrack. He's a little bit concerned. They went back to kind of where they started. He's hoping for a good finish. Now, a guy who's really making some ground up in recent weeks is Brian Vickers. He's 14th in points, only 104 points out. Now, he went off the racetrack during practice on Friday. They've been fighting a little bit of a brake issue since they've been here. They hope they got that fixed. And Brian Vickers also knows with 5 to go, it's time to get down to business.
I mean, right now we're definitely heading in the right direction, and that's the most important part. You know, we were in the chase earlier in the season. We fell out. We had some struggles, and we got back. Now we're headed back in, and hopefully we can continue that momentum and we can get inside the chase. The most important part is momentum. You know, I mean, the direction you're going, I think, is very crucial.
The last 4 finishes for Brian Vickers, a 7th at Daytona, 7th at Chicago, 5th at Indy, and a 6th at Pocono. He definitely got that momentum on his side, and he needs to get a good finish here today as well, JR.
Hermie, thanks a lot. Perhaps one of the longest distances anywhere in the world is the distance between 12th and 13th in Sprint Cup standings after 26 races. Kenny, it can be humbling.
You know, I want to talk about being humbled. You know, Mark the Kid Martin saying that, you know, Jeff Burton never wrecks, and he's wrecked 5 out of the last 6 races. You know, back in the day when I was cocky, I would say, how's that guy wreck so much? He's a wrecker. Well, they're saying I'm still cocky, but I'm not. What I'm saying is listen to Mark Martin, what he's saying. Jeff Burton is a good race car driver. He's been involved in 5 out of 6 wrecks. None of his doing. He's not a wrecker, but race fans, there's 5 races to go. Will that happen to another driver that is really good? That's what's so exciting right now, Spence. Will anybody else start wrecking?
Well, the thing is that, to me, these guys, these 5 or 6 guys, you know, even go up to Mark Martin and further. They can't make mistakes. I mean, when, you know, we heard Chad Kahne say about this pit road. Very, very critical area of making a mistake. The other thing is, if you focus on one or two things, you're going to get messed up. You need to focus on saying, I don't have to worry about Matt Kenseth or Greg Biffle. If you're Brian Vickers or whoever. Kyle Busch has to say, you know what, I'm worried about one thing, that's win the race. I think these drivers have to start focusing on the picture of, heck, I got to do the best I can, let the points fall where they may. That's what I think is the key to making the chase.
Were you ever cocky like Kenny?
Never.
Oh, my
I'm
God.
always subdued.
You are the worst.
Me?
You were bad.
This conversation in just a moment. On the other side of the break, we're going to talk about the difference between NASCAR's two road courses, and you might not believe just what is so different about these two courses. Back in a moment. See the latest NASCAR photos from every track every weekend on SpeedTV.com. Get behind-the-scenes access with our exclusive Garage Pass galleries. See the cars, the crews, even your favorite drivers. Check out the NASCAR photo galleries on SpeedTV.com. Now, the course at Infineon Raceway out in Sonoma, California, and this course here at the Glen have one thing in common. They're both road courses, but that's about where the similarities end. Let's go to Hermie Sadler for more on the difference between NASCAR's two road courses. Hermie?
Well, you're exactly right, JR, and it seems like it's the same way when fans and teams talk about Daytona and Talladega. They kind of get grouped together because they're super speedways, when in fact the tracks are very, very different and require different things to win. And as you hear from these drivers coming up, there's not a lot of similarities between Infineon and Watkins Glen when it comes to winning these races.
Well, I think they're a lot different, where Sonoma is a really technical track where you never really get that high speed, but you got to really set your car up for the next corner. You got heavy braking and you got forward biting, things like that. Where Watkins Glen is a very, very fast racetrack. It's not as many turns, you don't shift as much, but it's a big-time momentum racetrack.
Watkins Glen is a much more flowing racetrack. I love Sonoma. It's a great track, super technical, really tight. You got to focus on putting the power down coming out of the slow corners. That's probably the biggest difference here.
I like Sonoma, it's a lot of fun, but I've just always preferred Watkins Glen, just mainly because of the speeds and just the way the track is. You know, the tires don't wear out as bad.
For me, not being a road course guy, it's not quite as technical, I think, as Sonoma is, so I like Watkins Glen a lot better.
I prefer Watkins Glen. It's my home state, and it's just a blast to fly around this place so fast.
I like Sonoma better because I run better there, so you're always going to favor the place you run better.
And definitely success at one road course does not necessarily mean success at another, but I think everybody agrees on one thing. They like the speed here at Watkins Glen, but also, guys, when you have speed, when you get in trouble, it can be big trouble.
Hermie, thanks a lot. And of course, this track also features those sand pits or gravel pits that you can get stuck on. But guys, we hear it a lot from the drivers. What do you think? Is Watkins Glen tougher than Sonoma?
Well, listen, here's the way I look at it. For the driver, Sears Point, Sonoma, whatever you want to call it, is definitely hard on a driver. But for a race team, this racetrack at Watkins Glen can be hard because, as you heard Kyle Busch say, you reach speeds of 170 miles an hour up the backstretch, then you ask for the brakes to work. So you are asking more out of the car, horsepower, aerodynamics, braking at this racetrack. So different places for different things.
Well, the big thing I think at Watkins Glen, you know, I know Sonoma they're saying is very technical, but I think the problem at Watkins Glen, the speed. Anytime you start picking speed up, it's harder to pass. Harder on the brakes, harder on the transmission, harder on the motor. These transmissions, if they miss a shift at Watkins Glen, baby, those suckers will blow their brains out.
They will.
That's big time. And very easy to lock tires up here and flat spot them. If you lock a tire up, flat spot, especially this left-hander here, going into one, you have a big problem with rear wheel hop. If you can catch that quick, there's a lot of things that I think make Watkins Glen way worse than Sonoma, and it's going to play havoc today on him, Johnny.
And just for me, I'm thinking of things to prove to you how tough Watkins Glen is. Two of the greatest road race drivers of our era. We have B-roll. We're not going to show you right yet. But Jeff Gordon and Tony Stewart leading this race. Wheel hop, getting into turn one and losing the lead and spinning out all by themselves. So Watkins Glen is really, really hard.
It is time now for us to check in on the news from the garage area. For that, we go to Wendy Venturini.
Thanks, Johnny. It's been a short news week since we raced Monday in Pocono, but things have happened besides that tire test that we had Tuesday and Wednesday. By the time we got here, we had news of crew chief and team swapping with Richard Petty Motorsports. Now, we thought originally the 43 and the 44 were going to switch crew chiefs and teams coming into today's race at Watkins Glen. However, that move has been put on hold. Now, we've been told it's going to happen. We just don't know when. So it could possibly be after today from what people have told me in the garage area, which means Sammy Johns will move over as crew chief with Reed Sorensen, taking that team with him, and they'll swap with Mike Shiplett being crew chief for AJ Allmendinger. Now, in other news, and it's kind of a big item that we've talked about this week in the garage area, we've heard a lot of rumblings about NASCAR meeting with these engine builders and these engine tuners about switching to fuel injection, doing away with carburetors. Now, when I hear something like that, I want to go straight to the source. So I spoke to Robin Pemberton this morning. He told me these talks are always in place. We're always getting feedback from the drivers, from the car owners, different departments and different levels. However, if we were to make this switch in NASCAR down the road, we do away with carburetors, we go to fuel injection, what does that mean for our sport? Keep in mind, we've had a lot of engine changes. This is a 3-year plan we've had in place, and that Ford engine, the new one, has not even been introduced on the racetrack until till later on this season. So that's been a 3-year process. Guys, I don't know what your opinion is on this, but this would be a huge change. If NASCAR were to do away with carburetors, it'd be a big change for our sport. What do you think?
That'd be a big change, Wendy, for sure. But two of the things we're talking about is the jet dryers come behind us.
We're right next to the racetrack.
But that's important. We need a dry racetrack. But also, it's a greener car without a carburetor, fewer emissions, and also the fuel injection could give us an opportunity to keep them slowed down.
Well, that's the big thing. If you look at NASCAR, they're looking to the future. Let's face it. There's about one production car today made with a carburetor. I have an old 63 Corvette. That is the hardest car in the world to start. I've had the carburetor rebuilt by 3 guys. But yet I go out and start a new car today, bam, it starts. You can pump the gas all you want. It's not going to affect the fuel injection. Also, the thing about fuel injection is they can control the amount of air. You will not see restrictor plates anymore if they go fuel injection. You'll see that controlled by that air intake that feeds the fuel injection.
And God knows the automakers need help. So remember the old saying, what wins on Sunday sells on Monday?
Still true.
It's still true, but look, let's get a little, the carburetor is an ancient thing. There's another thing on our race car that's very ancient called truck trailing arms, and they've been around since 1960. So there are some things that are very surprising on a NASCAR car that you're like, the truck trailing arm has been around since 1960. The carburetor's been around for God knows when, so it might come in the future.
Well, race fans, he may come from a land down under. He spent most of this weekend on top of the leaderboard. In practice, he's fast, and Wendy Venturini is going to get the real deal behind the Tasmanian Devil, Marcus Ambrose, when we come back.
Ambrose, he's Australian for driver. And he's returning to the track where he posted a career best finish last year. Wendy chats with the man down under and gets some serious answers to some serious questions.
Do you really know Crocodile Dundee? Where do you keep your boomerang?
Around the Turn, NASCAR Race Day, built by the Home Depot.
Welcome back, everyone, to Watkins Glen International, where we are set for road course race number 2 of the season. And, you know, we talked about gray skies a little bit earlier. We have peaks of sunshine coming through, and the jet dryers are actively working on this big road course to get it dry. This is not an easy dry here, but they are nonetheless out there and working very hard at it. Now, a guy to keep your eye on anytime you ride on the road courses is Marcus Ambrose. He was fastest in Sprint Cup Happy Hour, and then he followed that act up by winning the Nationwide Series race yesterday against some of the toughest competitors in the business. With wife and child on hand in the victory lane after the Nationwide race, Marcus Ambrose is the real deal.
Marcus Ambrose goes to victory lane for the first time in his career.
There you go, mate! Gee, I can't believe it, man. What a day.
Now this track is home to your first NASCAR win in the Nationwide Series. The next day you came out in the Cup race. Best career finish that day of 3rd. How much were you looking forward to coming back here?
Well, you know, I've had such a great year already that, you know, anything's a bonus from here on in. We knew that the road races were going to be good for us if we finished the events. So for me, it's about managing expectations. It's not about one day, one race is going to make or break our year. it's just been a great season so far, and I just want to keep it rolling if I can.
I know you want to get that title, road course ringer, off your back, and I think you've done so with the consistent finishes that you've had on the oval tracks. But maybe the road course ringer title isn't such a bad thing to have this weekend.
Well, I've definitely lost out on some press because every road ringer article that I've read hasn't had my name in it, so I guess it has worked, and now I'm known more as a NASCAR driver rather than a road course specialist. But who knows how it's going to work out. But, you know, I like road racing. It's great, but my passion is definitely on the ovals.
He is so high on this young man. It's unbelievable. He is really believing that Marcos Ambrose can get a win for this team this year.
All right, Marcus, I read in your press release this week that you had no expectations going into this year. We're past the halfway point. Has that changed? Do you start setting goals and expectations now that you see how well you're running?
Not really. I mean, for me, 2009 was all about making an impression, just trying to break into the sport and show people that I had speed and that I had some common sense and that I was worthy to be in the garage. So that doesn't change whether we're 18th in points or 28th in points. You know, for me, it's not about a points chase this year. It's just about trying to show my speed every week. If I've got a fast car, I'm going to try and pass Jeff Gordon or Jimmy Johnson if I can and do it safely. And that's what I'm all about, you know, and whether it's Watkins Glen this weekend trying to win it, whether it's, you know, the next Talladega, it doesn't really matter. I'm just going to try to keep that car up the front as long as I can.
Marcos Ambrose, winner of the Big Pond Grand Finale.
Now, you came to American Stock Car Racing, to NASCAR, as a champion from the Supercar V8, two-time champion. It's like Sam Hornish and Juan Pablo. They leave the fame, the fortune, and the championships, the wins behind them to come over for a rookie stripe and a learning curve. Was that tough to swallow?
Well, for me, it wasn't. Personally, you know, I just needed a new challenge. I'd won a couple of championships down home, and I realised pretty quickly that winning a championship in Australia didn't mean an awful lot when I came to the USA. So, you know, I had to start again, start from the bottom, and it's been a challenge. It's been exciting. It's had some ups and downs along the way, and it's been just been a great journey. And if it finishes tomorrow, it doesn't really matter.
But where are you now that you have some time under your belt? Do you feel like you're proving yourself and you could compete with the best of them now?
Well, you know, there's a level of intimidation, no doubt, when you're up against such talent and experience like Jeff Gordon, Jimmy Johnson, Tony Stewart. I mean, these guys are legends of the sport. And so to rub up against them just in the garage and on the racetrack, it's intimidating. And I've come in from such a different form of racing, and no one really knew who I was before the season started. It's been a real challenge for me just to fit in. And I think, you know, as the inside paddock gets to know me, you know, things are starting to open up. It just takes time.
Answer me this. Are you fizzed up about your tin top this weekend? The boot and the bonnet, are they running well?
I'm all fizzed up, and the top's about to pop.
Top's about to pop. It'd be good to be right here come Sunday.
Yeah, it would be. I've experienced this victory lane one time, and it was a great experience, although doing the donuts on the front stretch was quite interesting because the track's very narrow there. You know, we're really excited about this weekend. We feel like we've got a great chance, but like I said earlier, it's about managing expectations. If we expect too much, then we'll trip over ourselves. So we just got to keep doing what we've been doing all year, and we should be okay.
It was a fun conversation I had with Marcos Ambrose. We even had a little bit of fun with the tease elements that we shot there. Now, his family's here this weekend. He brought his wife, Sonia, and his daughters, Adelaide and Tabitha, who you saw in Victory Lane yesterday for the nationwide race. They don't always travel with him, but Marcos was so fizzed up about this weekend, he decided to bring him to the road course, knowing he had a good car in both nationwide and the Sprint Cup Series. And he's had a hard time adjusting. You guys know this NASCAR life cannot be easy, and it's tough on everybody's schedule. And when it came down to Marcos, he came over to American Stock Car Racing. He's had to adjust to the NASCAR lifestyle. He said it's very busy. He stays busy in between race weekends with test sessions and PR that he does for the team, but nonetheless, Marcos is having a blast. And he actually told me, Johnny, he doesn't maybe see himself being in the NASCAR world after the next 5 years. He's here to learn about NASCAR, learn about American Stock Car Racing, and then head back home for his little girls to grow up. And I said, what, 5 years we won't see Marcos Ambrose? We'll have to wait and see on that one. John?
Yeah, he may want to reconsider that after the success he's having right now. 5 years might not be enough for Marcos Ambrose to get done what he wants to get done here. But Marcos, we say to you, good day, mate. And you know what? This guy is a breath of fresh air. He is always happy, always smiling, and he's running great.
Well, you guys always pick on me, my Spencer Dictionary, but you know, he's going to tickle the race car. and he's going to pop some tins. Now, Marcos...
and get fizzed up.
Yeah, fizzed up. And he's a pretty cool guy, Kenny, and I really like this guy, but he needs to tell me what the heck popping the tins mean. I think it's beer. and tickling the race car.
And oh, mate, look at him. Here he is with his child. And, you know, you got to think about this. He's from Australia. I mean, look at his citizenship. I mean, I can understand how hard it is, him maybe wanting to go back to Australia. You know, one would say, does he want to become a full U.S. citizen? Was he going to move here? I mean, to run this NASCAR lifestyle, you know, it creates a lot of problems. So I can understand him loving Australia, wanting to go back there.
Yeah, but I love the USA.
Yeah, big move for Marcus Ambrose to come here, and I think they agree with you too as well, Jimmy. We got to take a quick break, but it's good to have Marcus Ambrose around. Hope he's around for a long time because he's proven he belongs on NASCAR's top series, and he could well be in victory lane tonight. More in a moment. Race fans want to learn something new? Go to speedtv.com and type in keyword Advanced Auto Parts and check out the Advanced Auto Parts virtual cutaway car. The only thing you don't have in there is translation about Marcus Ambrose's terms that he brought over from down under. Well, you know, when you look inside the car today on the telecast on the road course, you're going to see guys' feet moving almost like a ballet dance. We usually do not associate ballet dancers and Hermie Sadler, but in this case, Hermie, I think we're going to make an exception because it is somewhat of a choreography going on inside the race car today.
It really is. And for this week's Advanced Auto Parts explanation, we're going to talk about road course ringers and what they mean to a race car team when they're driving these cars around the road courses. Now, here's what the guys will do. When they're upshifting, going from second, third to fourth, everybody uses the clutch. If I'm in second, I'm on the gas. I want to go to third, I hit the clutch, I go to third. Back to the gas, clutch again, go to fourth, back to the gas. The difference with the road course ringers is when they downshift. They're able to do what we call heel toe. Not only is it better on the racetrack, but it saves your equipment. So if I'm in high gear, if I'm aboard saying know how to heel toe, I can put the back part of my foot on the brake, and also when I want to go to third, push the clutch in, and I tap the gas with my right foot a little bit while my foot's on the brake and go to third and use the clutch. Now, if you're not a road course ringer, if you're a guy like Hermie Sadler, we just do some jamming and cramming we talk about. We go down the back straightaway in fourth gear, we go to third, we hit the brake, and we want to tap the gas and go to third and not use the clutch. Why do you tap the gas? Because you have to synchronize the RPMs of the engine with the transmission before you can shift gears. So, we heard Jimmy Spencer talking about the speed of this racetrack and how you can get in trouble with your equipment. Well, if you're a road course specialist and you know how to heel toe, in other words, use the clutch on every shift, you got a better chance of making it to the end. But it's an awful lot of fun to watch all these guys grab gears all day long, JR.
Very graceful, Hermie Sadler. Gracefully done. Let's now take a hot lap around this racetrack, and nobody better than to jump up in the car with than Juan Pablo Montoya.
Yes, and here we are. That's the start-finish line. This, to me, is the fastest part of the racetrack that you get in trouble at. Going into turn one, heavy braking down to the apron. That's where you get a lot of wheel hop. Kenny, heading down in here to turn two and the S's.
Fastest part of the racetrack. Okay, lift a little bit. Wide open right here. Now listen, race fans, wide open, wide open. Wide open, I can't say much because, now listen to this. Wide open, then you're like, you're scared.
This is where they're going about, what, 60 or 70 mile an hour?
170 mile an hour.
170 fans. 170 into this hard right-hander, Kenny. What a frigging handful.
Come out of here in second gear, maybe go to third, maybe keep it in second. They call this the vacuum cleaner corner for some reason. You roll around her half, 3/4, wide open.
And I think that's a big passing zone right there. Coming off that turn, over the tunnel right here. There's a tunnel there. There's a bridge, tunnel, whatever you want to call the damn thing. But here's where you got it. Left-hander, the only left-hander, high speed. A lot of runoff right there. That's our speed stage over here to the right. Kenny, we saw a major pileup right here last year coming off this turn.
And lower the better in every corner. Lower the better because that's where the grip's at. You've seen these corners have got concrete. Years ago, Spence, they had asphalt. The radial tires tore that asphalt up, so they laid concrete. There's a lot of grip.
And also,
I'm sorry, go ahead, Jimmy.
But the big thing here, fans, is this pit road. I remember Kurt Busch had a shot at winning this race. Comes off the racetrack, hits pit road. He gets a commit. He's committed. The light turns at the same time, means do not pit, Kurt. Well, he's screwed. He has to go to the rear of the field. If that happens today, Johnny, look out for the point chasers.
And one thing we will be seeing for the first time at this road course is double file restart shootout style heading in to that very treacherous turn number one. When we come back, we'll talk to a driver who's been on an emotional roller coaster lately, but it's on a high note right now.
If not for a few hiccups this season, Denny would be even higher in the standings. We've got the lowdown on Hamlin's 09, and we're bringing it to you. Straight ahead, NASCAR Race Day built by the Home Depot.
NASCAR Race Day, built by the Home Depot, is live from Watkins Glen International for the race that may separate the Chase contenders from the pretenders with only 5 races to go. Tony Stewart has ruled the Glen over the last several seasons and will look to pad his points lead and gain momentum heading into the Chase. Juan Pablo Montoya is on the verge of a breakthrough victory that may come today. But let's not forget, Infineon race winner Kasey Kahne looks to sweep the road courses for 2009, and Jimmy Johnson is on the pole and looks for his first road course win today while building momentum for a 4th straight championship run through the Chase. Now, Tony Stewart, gentlemen, has a chance today. He is the only one that can mathematically lock himself into the Chase. Jimmy Johnson and Jeff Gordon, although realistically are in the Chase, are not mathematically there yet.
Yeah, the big thing there is Jimmy Johnson wants to win on a road course. That's the only place he hasn't won yet, Johnny.
And he's been taking care of those little marks on the checklist, places he hasn't won before, and a road course could be in his future because the pole is a great place to start here. On back in the field we go. Let's take a look at the battle for 12th, and this is where it gets extremely tight. Kasey Kahne, Juan Pablo, Newman, Martin Kenseth, Biffle, those guys are in, and perhaps in the biggest surprise of the season, Kyle Busch is out.
And I sit there and I look in 11th and 12th. They're looking pretty good, 100-point lead, but I still think that's incredible that Roush almost could lose every driver out of the Chase.
No, Carl was up in there 5th.
That's right. Carl Edwards is up there in 5th spot. He's looking good.
Looking good for the Chase
But
right
old
now.
Matt the Brat, that's a surprise in him and the Biff back there like
And
that.
the Biff too. So somebody's going to have to fall out if Kyle Busch is going to get in. It's a recurring theme, but we'll see it over the next 5 races. You know, Denny Hamlin's weekend last weekend was somewhat of an emotional roller coaster that ended on a high note, but that's exactly what his season has been like, a roller coaster, and right now it's on a high.
Denny Hamlin has not won a race since the spring of 2008 at Martinsville, 50 races ago. Today, Denny Hamlin goes to victory lane for the first time in 2009.
While the number 11 was back in victory lane last week in Pocono, a place he's been very familiar with.
It has been Denny Hamlin day all day. The rookie has shown the veterans how to get it done here at Pocono.
The middle portion of the season seemed to be more of a woulda, coulda, shoulda for driver Denny Hamlin. In the first 8 races, Hamlin cruised to 4 top 10 finishes with back-to-back second-place runs at the short tracks of Bristol.
Kyle Busch about 2 car lengths over Denny Hamlin. They've separated themselves by nearly half straightaway over Kasey Kahne.
And Martinsville.
Boy, Johnson used a little hustle and a lot of muscle to get past Denny Hamlin.
5th in points heading to Talladega, Hamlin was sitting pretty. But after leading 28 laps, he was only able to muster a 22nd place finish.
Here comes the cavalry. Jeff Burton is there. Whoa, Robbie Gordon gets turned. Denny Hamlin's around. A huge crash. Mid-pack will take out about 7, maybe 8 cars.
From there, 5 straight finishes outside the top 10 pushed Hamlin to 12th in points and on the verge of a no chase for the FedEx bunch. Dover saw Hamlin running up front, but a cut tire spoiled his day.
Levin in the wall. Levin in the wall. Blown right front for Denny Hamlin. He was running second at the time, on his way to a great day, and instead now he's going into the garage.
And the following weekend at Pocono, trouble started at the green.
Flag is out at the Pocono Raceway. Quickly, one car is already off the pace, and Denny Hamlin going nowhere. The entire field steams by Hamlin.
The gauges were out. The gauges were out in the car.
A 38th place finish would ruin his day and finally put an end to an otherwise dismal 6 races. However, Hamlin's fortunes have seemed to turn. He has 5 top 5s in his last 7 races, including last week's emotional win.
Denny lost his grandmother on Friday, said he wanted to do this for her, and here it is. He's going to win for the first time this year, taking the Pennsylvania 500.
I was going to win a wreck. I had so many emotions that I didn't know what I was doing.
With Hamlin now up 1 spot to 5th in points, he sits pretty secure to make the chase with just 5 races to go. The question will be, will the momentum of his last 7 races continue, or will the woulda, coulda, shoulda start all over again?
And Denny Hamlin and I were just watching that video. I said they always got to show the bad stuff leading to Wendy with the driver. But the good news is came out with the victory at Pocono. Congratulations out of that and gaining more points last weekend.
Yeah, it was a big boost for our race team for sure. Yeah, I think we're just destined to win that race for sure. You know, I didn't realize it until everyone gave me the stats of, you know, the grandma was 91 years old. I led 91 laps, so 1 lap for every year, and we took the lead for the win on lap 191.
I still got cold chills when you tell that story. When you come into this weekend's race, a lot of momentum on you and your team's side. What can you do at Watkins Glen to keep it going? Because you gave yourself a little bit more pad now in that chase.
Well, you know, we spent a lot of races getting to that pad. It's not always about one race. It's by the looks of it, by that highlight, it's either a top 5 run or we have a mechanical failure. We just keep this car all in one piece and don't have any problems each race, then we can contend for a championship just like anyone else.
Now, when we look at the racetrack today, there's some good places to pass, not good places to pass. What's the area of the racetrack that you find the most aggressive or maybe the easiest place to get around someone?
Well, that's the thing about this racetrack. It's got, you know, about 4 to 5 passing zones in it, where Sonoma has about 2. You know, turn 1's obviously a passing zone. Into turn 2's 1. Into the inner loops 3. Into 6 is 4, and then off the last corner is 5. So there's a lot of different places that you can pass here. It's just all in how you want to time it and set it up.
All right, well, good luck to Denny Hamlin today. Johnny, he might not have too many cars to pass if he stays up front. He's starting 3rd, was 3rd in happy hour. We know Denny Hamlin will be good today.
Yeah, and Wendy, let's not forget, he is a very good road course racer as well. He's gone to victory lane once there in the Nationwide Series and has knocked on the door in the Cup Series as well. And when it comes to winners, let's take a look at how they have been scattered out among the drivers this year. Your Sprint Cup Series winners are led by 50-year-old Mark Martin.
Yeah, but the big thing here, Johnny, 12 drivers scored 21 in 21 races this year. Last year, 12 drivers dominated the whole year, so you're seeing some new names in here. Let's face it. David Ruderman winning, Joey Logano, Brad Keselowski, and I believe, Kenny, there's a couple like Biffle and Edwards and some of those guys missing, and I think they're going to win before the year's over.
Well, one thing I've noticed, I went down through the list, just about every driver in NASCAR Cup Series has won a race now. Go ahead and look at it. I think there's only about 3 or 4 drivers that haven't won a race, you know, so it's pretty amazing.
And one of those guys is starting out front today, Marcus Ambrose. He has a good chance to win today. Let's take a look at some of the winless drivers who have won last year, and this is a surprising little group right here. Greg Biffle, Clint Boyer, Burton, Dale Earnhardt Jr.
And remember, Greg Biffle won late last year. He rattled off 2 in a row in September. Do not count the Biff out.
I forgot about Newman on there. You know what, guys? This could be a record here, man. You had these 6 guys. That's 18. Throw in Ambrose's 19. Holy cow. What a great year as far as I'm concerned for diversity in winning.
And a couple of those drivers you saw on that list have solid spots in the chase right now, but no wins as of yet, so no bonus points when it all starts. When we come back, we have 2 of the more fun guys to chat with coming your way. We got Boris Said and Max Pappas. We guarantee you a couple of laps when we come back to NASCAR Race Day.
Next week, rubber meets pavement in the Motor City, where the kid took his 3rd checkered of the year back in June. The 99 tasted Motown glory last August, but Carl's still shooting blanks this season. Can he finish on top for the first time in '09? Live from Michigan, NASCAR Race Day, built by the Home Depot.
Welcome back, everybody. You know, if your driver isn't that good on the road course, there's something you can do about it. You can hire dependable temporary labor, and that is a road course ringer. For more on these so-called ringers, let's get the good stuff with Booty Barker.
We're here at Watkins Glen bringing you the Napa good stuff. We're going to talk about road course ringers versus your NASCAR regulars. Why even bring them in? Well, back in the day, technology was a huge reason. They had a lot in their hip pocket. For instance, better brakes, better transmissions, better steering boxes, a lot of the things we weren't aware of. Well, we learned quick, and right now the playing field is essentially even as far as technology. So why even consider it steel? Well, one of your major reasons, some you might not think about, it's just too confusing for our NASCAR regulars. With braking, you got a heel toe, you got to use your right foot, you got to use your left foot. With all that going on, sometimes they just forget to use the brakes at all. And then you got steering. you got to go right. Well, I'm just going to tell you, some of these boys are set in their ways, and they're going to turn left regardless. And when that happens here at Watkins Glen, through the bushes you go. And also you got shifting. These boys are used to putting it in fourth and letting it rip. And if you do that, you're only going to be about 10 seconds off around this track. Fact of the matter is, our NASCAR regulars have closed the gap a tremendous amount with those road course ringers. I just pick it on y'all boys. But you never know with owners these days. They might want to bring in a road course specialist crew chief. Nah, that's just crazy talk, y'all. That, my friends, Napa good stuff.
And Booty Barker always got some interesting stuff to say, but I do have one of these road course ringers that's always a factor at these places, and that's Boris said. Boris, a good qualifying run for you guys. Can you get this car to victory lane?
I mean, it's possible. We definitely have the equipment. I mean, our U.S. Chrome Ford Fusion's been fast since we unloaded, and it's really going to take me having a perfect race, not making any mistakes, managing my brakes, and keeping it on the road.
We saw you get off course yesterday a little bit. Booty Barker showed it in his piece, and Frankie Stoddart's probably the only guy in the garage smaller than I am, and he can, threaten bodily harm to you if you get off course again.
Well, he'd have to pick on someone his own size, but I don't think we could find anybody his size, so he couldn't hurt a fly, so he's just blowing hot air.
And I know you want to have a good run today because you'd like to start off 2010 with a full season.
Yeah, I mean, we just sold 51% of our team to Rick Clark, and it'll be called Rick Clark Motorsports, and I think he's going to be the first minority to own a majority interest in a Sprint Cup team. So we're really excited about it. We announced it in Daytona, but it took a long time with the economy being bad and lawyers and all kinds of things. But he's looking for sponsorship, and hopefully we can pool our resources together, and we'll be there in Daytona in 2010 when the season starts.
We know he'll be fast on the track, Wendy, but one other thing, the Wood Brothers crew, the 21 team, is pitting Boris on pit road. He'll be a factor today.
I'm sure it will be. And Max Pappas and I, we were just watching Boris. Hey, he's got the good hair going on this race day morning. Max, talk about your race car, because you love coming to these road courses. You love coming to the NASCAR garage area, and we love having you.
Thanks a lot. First of all, let me say hi to all the people out there. Thanks for the support. And this weekend, the Geico Toyota has been running really well. Really happy about it. A couple of times I was on the top of the board. That was first for me in NASCAR so far. Great feeling, great sensation. We worked really hard on balancing the car after 10 laps, making sure that the car doesn't fall off in terms of speed, and brakes definitely is going to be an issue in terms of persevering, not abusing them. But at the same time, you can't leave anything on the plate, with these NASCAR guys. They drive so hard every lap that you really need to bring the A game to compete with them.
And we will see you for the next few weeks. Tell us your schedule here in the Sprint Cup Series, the next one being Bristol. Yeah. Fun.
Yeah, guys are going to see the Geico Toyota and myself out on the track quite often. We have about 10 races from now to the end of the season. So Bristol, that's going to be like that's going to be a treat. And, we have Atlanta, we're going to be at Homestead, Phoenix, Talladega, Dover. So you're going to see me around quite often, and I'm really excited. We're going to get some momentum. This is going to help a lot what we are doing, especially for next year. And I'm just excited, let me tell you. This is just a blast.
And it's a treat for us to have him in the Cup Garage. I could talk all day. They're telling me to wrap up, Johnny, but, Max and I, we can just carry on and on here, sharing our stories.
Yeah, that is good news for the race fans out there, because Max is a lot of fun to have around the racetrack. Those are two drivers right there, and Boris and Max, that you may see factor into this race before all is said and done. When we come back, a final word on Watkins Glen, and we'll also have our fantasy picks.
NASCAR Race Day is built by the Home Depot. Visit homedepot.com. More saving, more doing. That's the power of the Home Depot. Brought to you in part by Cheerios, good for the heart, and by Atlanta Motor Speedway. Be there when the lights come on as NASCAR Sprint Cup Night Racing comes to Atlanta Motor Speedway on Labor Day weekend. Go to www.atlantamotorspeedway.com for event and special ticket information.
Take a look at the fantasy standings here on NASCAR Race Day, built by the Home Depot. And you know what? We got to do a little bit more doing here, because Kenny Wallace is leading the crew right now by 166 over Wendy. We had a shakeup in the points a couple of weeks back. We have Senior Excitement and the Hermalicious one. I hate saying that every weekend. Kenny, who you got? You got a friend there to help you with your pick.
Well, I got Homer. Hey, Homer, I got a question. Who's going to win the race today?
I think it's going to be the Blue Deuce.
The Blue Deuce? What's his name?
Kurt Busch.
Well, you heard it. It's going to be Kurt Busch is going to win the race today for me, Kenny Wallace. Thank you, Boris. I mean,
How
Homer.
come Boris didn't pick himself?
Hey, and plus I want to thank Johnny TV for that voiceover. Over to you, Wendy.
No, I get to
Johnny.
go next. Wendy's lagging back. She's holding back on the road course for the restart, and then she's just going to jump ahead. Well, you know what? We named our new doggy the Smoke because she was tough. She was a fighter. So I think the Smoke is going to be the toughest one out on the racetrack today. Number 14, points leader, Tony Stewart, will pad that points lead. 4 wins so far on this racetrack, and he is going to score another one today, Mr. Excitement.
Well, the key here is I'm thinking I'm at Las Vegas, and there's 2 cars I really like. You know, on a come-out roll, you roll a 7 or 11. Well, I don't want to jinx my buddy Denny Hamlin, so I'm picking the 7 because all you people are down on him, big time down on him, just because he's called, you know, I ain't going to say that word. But today, the 7 car, the Jim Beam, which I like that fluid, is going to do good today. Robbie Gordon will have some luck today. He finally needs it. Look out, guys. Hermie, I'm taking the 7. He's going to have a good day, buddy.
I wish you good luck, Jimmy, but obviously, temporarily, I'm in last place. I need maximum points. I need a guy that's going to drive the wheels off on it today. That driver is Kyle Busch, no question about it. I came to his motorhome, but I don't think Kyle is here today, so I'm just going to... Oh, Kyle, you are here today. Hey, Kyle, appreciate you joining us here on NASCAR Race Day, but wanted to get a word with you. I just picked you on our fantasy pick. Can you take me to victory lane today? Well, look, I'm picking you. I'm depending on you, and I look forward to everything you can do to get me maximum points. And by the way, Wendy, that was my best Kyle Busch interview ever on NASCAR Race Day.
It might have been for you. Now, they saved the best for last. Don't be fooled, race fans. I'm not last in the picks because I had Juan Pablo last week. This week, I'm going with Marcus Ambrose in victory lane yesterday, and I think you're going to do it again today. You just told me before this interview I bring you good luck, so hopefully that helps.
Yeah, you did. We did a nice interview with you on Friday, and it seemed to have worked out pretty well for me so far this weekend. But, you know, today's a new day. We can't rely on what happened yesterday. Got to go out there and be smart for the first part of the race, look after our stuff, and hopefully we'll be there somewhere close to the front near the end.
All right, I'm going with Marcus Ambrose. His wife, Sonia's here. Daughter's Adelaide Tabitha. He'll be back in victory lane as my guest.
What about the tins, Wendy? Come on.
The tin top?
Yeah,
he's all fizzed up.
Oh,
the boot and the bonnet, they're great.
Okay, I just
all
want to
over
know
it.
what the tins are.
Whatever she just said. All right, let's take a look at the our predictions here for today. See who's got whom. The Herminator has the Blue Deuce, the number 2. Wendy's got the 47. I got the Smoke, the 14. Senior Excitement has the 7. And Hermie Sadler's got the 18. Yeah. And the fans out here didn't like that pick very much. But you know what? That's a darn good pick on this road course.
Nobody took 24. Nobody took 48. Oh,
that's crazy.
Gosh, that's hard to believe.
You know, the Blue Deuce was going to win here until he pitted and the red light came on, so hopefully he'll get it done.
All right, for some final words from the garage area, let's send it back in to Hermie Sadler.
Yeah, well, thank you, JR. I mean, road course racing, you like it or you don't like it or whatever, but all these drivers, you can just tell it's tense. It's a race you've got to get through. We've called it a wild card race. A lot of cars on the lead lap, good track position, and pit road strategy will be key. Wendy?
Hey, this is my final thought. Oh, just kidding. Hi, Rutledge. Well, here's my final thought. This is the weekend we usually have the school bus races. Everybody in the garage area has been asking us, are you going to race the school buses? Boo-hoo. We didn't get invited. I think our invite got lost in the mail, folks. No school bus races this year, but hopefully next year they'll invite us back. I think they were worried about us tearing up their buses. I don't know. Johnny, what do you think? I think I could have got you guys.
Yeah,
this was Rutledge looking in his mirror when I passed him.
I'm just glad we don't have to take on Wendy in the bus races because it's embarrassing every year. Now, guys, what do you think? Quickly, not much time. Who wins this thing today?
We saw 8 places change last week in the top 12. You stay tuned today. You're going to see a hell of a race, guys. A lot of change in the points.
I don't know who's going to win. That's how exciting it's going to be.
It could be any of the 43 drivers out here today. We've already seen 3 first-time winners, and we could see another one this afternoon. Here's the good news. It seems right now that the rain is staying away, and we're ready for 90 laps of racing. We'll wrap it up all tonight on Speed on NASCAR Victory Lane.